Welcome to the June 13th episode of Over and Out for DawnNews. With me is Ahmed Khwaja in the United Arab Emirates, and I'm Saidi Raza here in Dallas, Texas. So two matches to review. West Indies, New Zealand, which was in our previews sort of billed as the two top teams in that group. Of course, a little bit of an anticlimactic match, and then we'll briefly discuss Bangladesh and Netherlands. So the West Indies are looking good, but I also think New Zealand was a little overhyped coming in. I was disappointed in the trio of Kane Williamson, Rachin Ravindra, and Devon Conway how they played, and but full marks to the West Indies. Sherfain Rutherford with a wonderful knock, and I think from that group is pretty much set. It'll be the West Indies and Afghanistan who go through. Afghanistan, of course, playing PNG tonight. Your thoughts on that match?
Well, I felt that Kane Williamson's captaincy lost him that match. The last two overs, Sherfain Rutherford was batting on 31, and then he had used up all his frontline fast bowling, and he had to rely on Daryl Mitchell and Mitchell Santner. And such fine margins on low-scoring games, on difficult pitches, they just put up a buffet bowler, so to speak. और शरफेन रथरफर्ड ने आते ही तीन लगातार सिक्सेस लगाए डैरिल मिचेल को. That swung the momentum of the game, and then he put the finishing touches in the final over against Mitchell Santner. And we knew a target of 150 was always going to be very, very difficult on these tough, turgid wickets here in the Caribbean. And then it was Gudekesh Moti, who I'd been rating before the tournament, bowled beautifully, and he went through the Kiwi batting lineup like a knife through butter. They've been completely undercooked. They've been completely out of form. Kane Williamson was disappointing with the captaincy and with the bat, and by the time Glenn Phillips came in to play the rescue act, it was way too little too late.
No, it's interesting because in the weeks and certainly the months leading up to this World Cup, we had the IPL and the PSL where teams were routinely scoring above 210, 220. But I think even when this World Cup moves fully to the Caribbean, mid 160s is going to be a difficult chase.
Oh, absolutely. We just saw in the game we had this evening between Bangladesh and Netherlands, getting to 160. It requires patience. It requires application. Shakib Al Hasan ne bahut hi achhi patient half century बनाई थी. You need a couple of aggresses and then you can reach that 150, 160 kind of score. And anytime, especially in the latter half, in the second half of any innings, when the ball gets a bit soft and the shine wears off, then it becomes really difficult for the batters to really put that momentum on the ball to get that quick scoring. And of course, we have that variable bounce that's been a thing that has been there throughout the tournament in the US and in the Caribbean. And when you get variable bounce, you get mistimed shots, and it's made it very difficult for the batters to really power on in the second half of the innings.
Yeah, you're not seeing too many of those last three overs, 40, 45 runs, death overs in either the second or the first innings. It's a few overs here and there of mid-teens, and that's sort of your basis.
Yeah, when it goes to about 40 of 38, 8.5, 9 runs per over, usually you would back the batting side 9 out of 10. But in this T20 World Cup, it's been the reverse trend. You would back the bowling side to go through a 9 out of 10. The Netherlands were really well placed, except that one over from that young leg spinner, Rishad Hussain, who's been really, really impressive for the Bangla Tigers. He just got that ball to rip and turn and got 2 wickets back-to-back, especially the wicket of Scott Edwards, the captain of Netherlands. And that really knocked the stuffing out of the Netherlands. And now, it's very disappointing the way the campaign is petering out for them. But we could have a chance of having Scotland, USA, and Bangladesh in the Super 8s. That this tournament has been very unpredictable, to say the least.
Yeah, we're recording this as England is playing Oman. We're fully expecting England to beat Oman, but England has it all to do in that last game to overtake Scotland on the net run rate. It's good to see Bangladesh in there, although the Dutch will look back if they don't make the Super 8s as this is a lost opportunity. One quick weather report. The weather is clearing up a little bit in Fort Lauderdale, so there is a decent chance that tomorrow's US-Ireland game goes through. Pakistan is, of course, hoping that one, the match happens, and then two, Ireland to beat the US. But I think the US it's a team which has belief. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up winning this thing.
Oh, absolutely. They've looked impressive right throughout the tournament. They gave Pakistan a drubbing, of course. They got the win over Canada, and they ran India very, very close as well. And Ireland have looked completely bereft of batting form. That has been their major issue. The fielding from the Irish hasn't been great as well. So it's just hoping against hope that the men in green, light green rather, can get one over the USA, but it looks quite difficult, and I think Pakistan may be in for some bad news either way with the weather or with the US defeating Ireland and progressing on to the Super 8.
Perfect. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.